Welcome back. As a fellow traveler on the Liberty Road, I'm Dave Patterson, and I cover national security and foreign policy for Liberty Nation News. I thought I'd bring you up to date on where negotiations with Russia to end the fighting in Ukraine stand. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff have been engaged in talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and it's reported that Witkoff traveled to Moscow on April 24th for discussions on the 25th. The primary sticking point remains reconciling territory currently occupied by Russia, including Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Crimea. Witkoff expressed his view: the reality of Russian occupation of these areas bodes little chance of the Kremlin giving them up, suggesting in a final agreement Russia could retain control of these territories. Well, following the meeting between Witkoff and Putin, Kremlin aide Yuri Yushakov characterized them as constructive and very useful. That's a good thing. The aspiration is that the talks would narrow the differences between the two sides. Yushakov did observe that there was a possibility of direct meetings between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump, ever the optimist, stated that the two sides were very close to a deal and wanted direct Kiev-Moscow talks to finalize an agreement. The apparent progress resulted after President Trump expressed publicly his strong displeasure with Putin's reluctance to make progress in the ceasefire in Ukraine. Secretary Rubio is frustrated with the whole mess and has said if there is no progress soon, days, not weeks, the U.S. will walk away from the talks. The highly touted minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine was supposed to have been signed on April 24th, but seems to be in limbo at this recording. The minerals deal would have U.S. investment in Ukraine natural resources with personnel working in Ukraine, American personnel. The U.S. workforce presence is part of Trump's strategic approach, believing that Russia would not attack Ukraine and risk killing Americans. It would be some assurance for Ukraine's security. Though much of the U.S.-Ukraine-Russia negotiations landscape is in the shadows, what is clear is that the Trump administration's patience with Russia's stalling is wearing thin. I'm Dave Patterson, and thank you for joining me as a fellow traveler on the Liberty Road.